hundreds of times, in fact. But what has convinced me is Ben Swan, he's an investigative journalist, his reporting on this and me just happening to come across a couple of his segments that were posted on X. I follow Ben, he does really great work, and watching them, and now I'm convinced that Pizzagate is real, that there is this pedophilia ring involving using code words pizza, and our government is complicit and not at all investigating it. But I want to show you a couple of the clips that I came across with Ben so that you can understand, and then I would encourage you to watch them in full for yourself. The links are down below to where you can watch that. But this is the first clip I came across just a few days ago.
Epstein is Pizzagate. Let that sink in for a minute. Jeffrey Epstein is Pizzagate. 10 years ago, Pizzagate was by far the #1 trending topic on Twitter. But the claim of pedophile elites who preyed on children was so insane that Pizzagate was shrugged off as a wild fever dream of a conspiracy theory.
Right. And that's kind of, again, I'm not one to ever discount something unless I've done the research myself and I can actually discount it. But I certainly wasn't chasing this down either. So I see this and I trust Ben Swan. He's done a lot of really great work on a lot of topics, from Ukraine to Israel to many different topics. Ben has been really on top of, and I think he does really credible, really excellent work. So I saw this and I thought, wow, okay, let me look a little bit more into this. So I watched Ben's episode, and in it are these old clips from when he was working on a mainstream news channel, a local news channel, I believe. And let me just show you. And now this original episode, you can watch that whole thing. It's about 8-9 minutes long. This second clip is also, this is just a clip from it, but I want to show you what was aired years ago. This was in 2017, and I watched this one in full, which the link is down below, and that one really convinced me that Pizzagate is real. Here's a sample of that.
Now, to begin, I need to show you a 2007 unclassified FBI document. That document, according to the FBI, contains commonly used symbols by pedophiles to express their preference in children. I want you to see these images here. These are the images. Notice this one on the end, the triangle. That image signifies something called boy love. The pizza place next door to Comet Ping Pong Pizza, Besta Pizza, well, this was their logo until only a few weeks ago. Clearly, you can see that the Besta logo actually contains the same image, I'm going to show you again, as that boy lover image. Besta Pizza changed their logo, and there it is now. They've removed the triangle. Also, Comet Ping Pong, owned by Alphantis, is the place where a number of performance artists perform regularly. Two of the groups that perform there, who you can see advertised, by the way, on this Comet Ping Pong poster, include a group called Heavy Breathing and another group called Sex Stains. Well, if you check out the YouTube videos by these bands, Heavy Breathing has songs that do joke about pedophilia, and the band Sex Stains has a video that includes, and you see it right there, that same boy lover symbol. It's nearly identical.
Hold the fuck up. We gotta go watch that whole shit, that whole goddamn thing. Big Swan. Hold on. Pizza. We gotta find that. Pizzagate. That is crazy. It said 2017. Where is it? Dead Swat. Where the fuck? Hold on, bro. We about to find it, bro. They always try to hide shit like this. So if I go missing, y'all know why.
Epstein is Pizzagate. Let that sink in for a minute. Jeffrey Epstein is Pizzagate. 10 years ago, Pizzagate was by far the #1 trending topic on Twitter. But the claim of pedophile elites who preyed on children was so insane that Pizzagate was shrugged off as a wild fever dream of a conspiracy theory. I was the first mainstream reporter to dare give the facts surrounding Pizzagate. My corporate career was destroyed over it, so what? My professional reputation was obliterated, that wasn't fun. And I wasn't the only one. Anyone who dared to suggest that this might be true was blacklisted, shadow banned, or thrown off of social media. But then, just days ago, the largest dump of Epstein files revealed what some of us have been telling you for a decade, that Pizzagate is real. Not that there is a pizza parlor at the center of a child trafficking ring, but that child trafficking rings run by some of the most powerful people in the world do exist. Tonight, I want to remind you of what I told you then and compare that to what we have now learned. Pizzagate, it became a major...
Y'all ain't tuned in. Y'all better tune in now. Y'all want the goddamn scoop.
Story weeks ago when an armed man decided to investigate a DC area pizza place for himself. This man right here, he carried a rifle into a pizza parlor and then fired it at the floor. Media is telling you the entire story is a hoax or fake news. But what does that even mean? I spent the last month investigating. So what exactly is Pizzagate?
Well, the story that came to be known as Pizzagate did not begin with a rumor, nor was it created by Macedonian sheep farmers, as CNN actually once claimed. It began with WikiLeaks, authentic, verified emails taken from the phone of the chairman of Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign, John Podesta. Those emails were real. In all these years, by the way, no one has actually disputed that. Inside those emails were communications that struck a lot of people, not just online commentators, but researchers and former law enforcement, as unusual to say the least. References to pizza, and to pizza handkerchiefs, and to maps, to private gatherings involving powerful people, some very bizarre stuff. In fact, the first people to draw attention to those emails were a group of self-proclaimed pedophiles on 4chan and 8chan who claimed that Podesta was using the same terminology that they use to speak in coded language. And in researching those emails, I found a 2010 entry into Urban Dictionary. It's still there, by the way. It confirms that cheese pizza is a commonly coded term for child pornography, CP.
Cheese pizza. So you mean to tell me cheese pizza? Hold on, bro. Hold on. You mean to tell me cheese pizza?
Why did you touch the TV?
I done fucked up the damn TV. I'm at the cabin. Let's see if he real quick.
You ain't sleep, man. That great.
Finish playing.
I want you to see these images here. These are the images. Notice this one on the end, the triangle. That image signifies something called boy love. The pizza place next door to Comet Ping Pong Pizza, Besta Pizza, well, this was their logo until only a few weeks ago. Clearly, you can see that the Besta logo actually contains the same image, I'm going to show you again, as that boy lover image. Interestingly, after Pizzagate investigators pointed this out, Besta Pizza changed their logo, and there it is now. They removed the triangle.
Yeah, 10 years ago, I was called a dangerous conspiracy theorist and a madman for claiming that pedophiles and possibly even pedophile elites might use coded language, even though it was online pedophiles who said that's exactly what they do. Which brings us back to this new Epstein release, because in it, the word pizza is mentioned 911 times. That's right, 911 times adults are emailing back and forth about slices of pizza and about pizza parties. And the word pizza is often paired with grape soda in bizarre contexts within emails addressed to Epstein by individuals whose names have been mostly redacted. So here's one. Quote, "This is better than a Chinese cookie. Let's go for pizza and grape soda again."
So pizza is child pornography, or they indulging in the child pornography? Like, either way, this shit is fucked up. This shit is wild, bro.
No one else can understand. Or this one. "Mr. Epstein would like to see the menu from the pizza place. Could someone send it, please?" Or this one from 2014. "Sit down, because I know you won't believe this. Are you sitting? Jeffrey says he wants to go out to a pizza place with you. He did not mention a particular pizza place, but he knows you are in the know on this, with a little winking emoji. All of the emails that I just shared with you were from 2014, right about the same time period of the John Podesta emails that WikiLeaks published and started the entire Pizzagate saga.
Now let's talk about the Podesta brothers, because remember, it was John Podesta's email that was hacked. In those leaked Podesta emails, John Podesta talks about his close relationship with Dennis Hastert, the former Speaker of the House, who was recently sentenced to 15 months in prison for abusing boys years ago.
Yeah, well, speaking of the Podesta brothers, again, there was no direct evidence of them being involved in child sex trafficking from those emails. But as we pointed out at the time, there was a lot of bizarre communication, including an email from John Podesta to his brother Tony. The subject line, "Last night was fun," and the first line reads, "Still in torture chamber." That email got really no attention 10 years ago, but today, a 2009 email from Jeffrey Epstein is getting a lot of attention, as it asks, "Where are you? You okay? I love the torture video."
To the fallout from the latest release of the Jeffrey Epstein documents, they include communications between the rich and powerful, from the co-owner of an NFL team to billionaires like Elon Musk.
CNN teams are carefully sifting through the largest, and what the Justice Department says is the last, batch of Jeffrey Epstein files.
Friday's release of millions of pages related to Jeffrey Epstein provided a closer look at his connection to world elites from Hollywood to Washington, Wall Street to Buckingham Palace and beyond.
Yeah, well, all those so-called news anchors and their newsrooms for a decade blacklisted this topic. They conditioned you to live in ignorance. They called it a conspiracy. They called me and so many others dangerous for even looking.
For all that is here, there has not been one single public investigation of any of this, not from local police, not from the FBI, no one. And that has to be the big question, not for Podesta or for pizza parlor owners, but for law enforcement. Based on what may be or may not be here, the big question is, why hasn't any investigation taken place?
Well, 10 years later, no investigation ever took place. It's a failure of a complicit government and also of a corporate media that didn't just ignore this evil. They helped to cover it up and keep it operating in the shadows. See, by refusing to engage honestly in 2016, by choosing mockery over investigation, by silencing questions instead of asking them, they created the very environment where this evil could thrive. See, they didn't kill bad information as they pretended. They guaranteed it would survive. See, I wasn't censored the way that I was because my reporting was false. I was censored because it was dangerous. Dangerous to narratives, dangerous to reputations, dangerous to a media culture that had grown comfortable acting as a gatekeeper rather than a watchdog. See, the unspoken rule was simple. Some questions are not allowed. Not because they're wrong, no, but because they lead to the truth. And the truth? Pizzagate, at least in the form of a cabal of elites and powerful people who delight in the physical and sexual abuse of children, is real. Remember how we started. Epstein is Pizzagate. But the other reality it's time to accept, Pizzagate is much more and much bigger than just Jeffrey Epstein.
This is Democracy Now!
This nigga said.
Well, Pizzagate. It became a major story weeks ago when an armed man decided to investigate a D.C. area pizza place for himself. This man right here, he carried a rifle into a pizza parlor and then fired it at the floor. Media is telling you the entire story is a hoax or fake news. But what does that even mean? I spent the last month investigating. So what exactly is Pizzagate? And are there any actual facts to support this story? I've got to warn you, what we're going to talk about tonight will be disturbing to some people. But this is a reality check you won't see anywhere else. Pizzagate actually comes from the WikiLeaks release of hacked emails from Clinton campaign chairman John Podesta. In all, WikiLeaks dumped around 50,000 email messages, and it was from those emails that the claims that John Podesta may be part of a child sex trafficking ring come from. Now, to be clear, not one single email in the Podesta emails discusses child sex trafficking or pedophilia. That is a fact. But there are dozens of what seem to be strangely worded emails dealing with pizza and handkerchiefs. Self-described online investigators say that those words in the emails about pizza and the talk of handkerchiefs is code language used by pedophiles. So how did a DC pizza parlor get pulled into the story? Well, again, read any mainstream report and they indicate...
Motherfuckers talking about cheese pizza and they really talking about child pornography. Motherfuckers nasty as hell.
Comet Ping Pong Pizza was somehow linked to this fake story and has no relation to anyone involved. But the truth is, that's not true either. What media is ignoring is that the Comet Ping Pong Pizza place is actually referenced in the Podesta emails at least a dozen or so times, and that the owner of that place, James Alfantis, is a friend of John Podesta. He was actually...
Hey, you know what's crazy though? Kids' favorite pizza. Kids' favorite type of pizza is cheese. That's the crazy part about this shit.
This is kind of strange, by GQ magazine as one of the top 50 most powerful people in Washington. Yes, we're talking about a pizza parlor owner. Now let's talk facts here. There is no solid evidence that Comet Ping Pong Pizza is being used to run a child sex trafficking ring. But there are some very strange connections between Comet Ping Pong Pizza and a second pizza place 2 doors over, Besta Pizza, and the accusations of pedophilia. Now this is where things start to get strange when you research this story. Now to begin, I need to show you a 2007 unclassified FBI document. That document, according to the FBI, contains commonly used symbols by pedophiles to express their preference in children. I want you to see these images here. These are the images. Notice this one on the end, the triangle. That image signifies something called boy love. The pizza place next door to Comet Ping Pong Pizza, Besta Pizza, well, this was their logo until only a few weeks ago. Clearly, you can see that the Besta logo actually contains the same image, I'm going to show you again, as that boy lover image. Interestingly, after Pizzagate investigators pointed this out, Besta Pizza changed their logo, and there it is now. They've removed the triangle. Also, Comet Ping Pong, owned by Alfantis, is the place where a number of performance artists perform regularly. 2 of the groups that perform there, who you can see advertised, by the way, on this Comet Ping Pong poster, include a group called Heavy Breathing and another group called Sex Stains. Well, if you check out the YouTube videos by these bands, Heavy Breathing has songs that do joke about pedophilia, and the band Sex Stains has a video that includes, and you see it right there, that same boy lover symbol. It's nearly identical to the one that the FBI does say is a pedophile code symbol for boy love. As I said, there are some strange things there. As for the owner of the pizza place, James Alfantis, well, he was one time in a relationship with David Brock, who ran Media Matters for America. Well, since Pizzagate began to blow up online, he has made his Instagram profile, Jimmy Comet, private. But an archive search of Instagram reveals a number of strange photographs and words with strange and disturbing images associated with them. Look, to the point where we can't show you those pictures. We're not even going to describe them to you because some viewers would find it too disturbing to share on TV. Now let's talk about the Podesta brothers, because remember, it was John Podesta's email that was hacked. In those leaked Podesta emails, John Podesta talks about his close relationship with Dennis Hastert, the former Speaker of the House, who was recently sentenced to 15 months in prison for abusing boys years ago. He was referred to by the judge as a serial child molester. According to the Washington Post, visitors to Tony Podesta's home in Falls Church got an eyeful when they walked into a bedroom at the Podesta residence hung with multiple color pictures by Katie Grannon, a photographer known for documentary-style pictures of naked teenagers in their parents' suburban homes. And to be clear, that just begins to scratch the surface of how strange some of this stuff is. And bear in mind, we can't get into a lot of the real details of it because of the limits on broadcasting this on television. But it is some very strange stuff. Now keep in mind, again, there is no proof here that that there is a child sex ring being operated out of a DC pizza parlor. Investigators have already proven there's nothing to the story, right? Well, actually, no. And that's what you need to know. For all that is here, there has not been one single public investigation of any of this, not from local police.
Boy, that shit is crazy, man. That's enough of that shit, bro. I don't even want to hear no more of this shit.